my dear friends, Romans, and country people. Today we are going to be going through my Shakespeare collection. All of them pretty much just fell on the ground. But you know what, that's okay. I'm just gonna pick the one that is right here. Also, isn't it fun that I said that line from Julius Caesar? And that might be like my most wanted Shakespeare play that I do not currently own. But of course that was not spontaneous. It was premeditated. When I thought of the idea for this video, I thought, hey, I should like say friends, Romans, countrymen, or country people. Because it's kind of funny that, you know, it's the one that I don't have, but you know what I'm saying. Anyways, yeah, I just felt I might as well be sincere with you all. Of course, my loyal, YouTube viewers, and also people who just enjoy book hauls. Apparently, lots of people like book hauls, and that's really cool because I really like talking about books and shit. But anyways, by the way, this isn't really a haul. These are just the books. Let me put this on my chest because I'm gonna be it's gonna hurt me a lot if I just. What if I put it? I think, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know why I chose to lay down and do this. Oh, actually, perhaps. Oh, there we go. That's perfect. So like, I just wanted to lay on my bed and do this because I felt like it. But anyways, let's start. So we have Richard III. Richard II. Oof, starting off on a bad note. Richard II. So I have quite a few of them from the Stratford series. I don't know if you can see. Let me actually like do a switch here to this view to hear some triggers. So yeah, this is Richard II. This is a hard cover, as you can hear. This is a hard cover. I haven't read this. I haven't read most of these yet. But yeah, Richard II. I don't know a lot about Richard II, honestly. So I'm very excited. So like, yeah, I mean, obviously there are a few like Shakespeare's that this is weird. I'm upside down right now. That like, even if you haven't read them, just because of their prominence in pop culture, you sort of know what goes on in them, and I'll sort of speak about those as we get to them, like Midsummer Night's Dream, Romeo and Juliet, like Hamlet, those sort of things. Like even before I read those, I sort of had a good idea of what they were about, just because of like them being mentioned in pop culture and stuff. Whereas there are quite a few others that I know nothing about, and I'm very excited to like read without any sort of, you know, knowing what's going to happen. You know, I feel like everyone knows that at the end of Romeo and Juliet, they both die. And even though like it's still enjoyable to read knowing that, that's why it's such a good play. Because it's enjoyable even though you may go into it knowing that fact. I think it's also very interesting to read something and know absolutely nothing about what's going to go on. So very excited to read Richard III for that reason. Next up, we have King Lear, similar to Richard III for me. This is also from the Stratford series, but this is a soft cover. Of course, most of these books are just from like the mini library in my parents' back room, because my mother and my grandmother were both teachers. My grandmother, who lived in that house before we did, were both English teachers. So we have lots of books that people used as coursework, and also they like studied English in university, so from that as well. Yeah, King Lear, another example of a book, of a play that I know pretty much nothing about, and I'm very excited to read with fresh eyes. I actually have another copy of King Lear. Let me pick these books up off the ground. So here's the other copy of King Lear that I own. And what happened is, let me lay down. So what happened was, my two copies of King Lear is that I got this one from the back room library place, and I put it in my bookshelf. Did not read it, just put it in my bookshelf. And then I think the most recent time I was at my parents' house, I found this copy, which I was like, oh hey, I haven't read King Lear, let me take this. I forgot that I already had a copy of King Lear on my bookshelf, so I took it. And I think when I do read King Lear, I'm going to read this one because the cover is way cooler. We have a likeness of our brother Willie Shakes the Bard himself. And also this actually has, this is from a high school, you can see. This actually has notes written by my grandmother, which I think is very interesting. I did not, she died when I was very young, so I think it's just very cool to just like, you know, see the types of notes that she would write when she was, you know, like studying or teaching, which is pretty cool. So yeah, my two King Lears. I actually made a joke. My friend was here the other day, and I told her like, hey, if you feel like it, we could read King Lear like from across the room or something, you know, because we wouldn't have to share one book, because I have freaking two, dude. I have two copies of King Lear, because we're, you know, balling in terms of, you know, our Shakespeare copies. Moving on to the next, we have, let me get one that I have read. Okay, here we go. We have a very cute little copy of Romeo and Juliet. I read this in high school, and I actually have a funny story about it. So, one day I was hanging out with a friend of mine, a female friend of mine, and I told her like, hey, I got this really cool little like pocket copy. This is also my grandmother. I got this cool little pocket copy of Romeo and Juliet. Isn't that cool? And I had it in my blazer pocket, because we were uniforms at my school with blazers and stuff, and this fit in the pocket. So while I was reading it, I just kept it with me all the time. And we just were hanging out at break or recess, and we just like started reading it. And my teacher, my Afrikaans teacher, I'm pretty sure, saw, and she was like, hey, what are you guys reading? That's cool. And then she saw that it was Romeo and Juliet, and she like made I'm upside down, and she like made it like, ooh, you know, like you could imagine a teacher doing this. And it was very funny because obviously, I mean, we weren't friends, but obviously it is quite funny, and I think everyone involved in the situation had a good chuckle, because it's quite funny that we are like we're like 17-year-olds reading Romeo and Juliet, you know. Yeah, you could be very romantic if you will, but yeah, it was pretty funny. And also my Afrikaans teacher was just the cutest human, so it was very funny and very cute. But anyways, I think this is a very entertaining piece. I feel like one of the reasons I really dislike West Side Story is because it tries to like retell Romeo and Juliet in a very like serious lovey-dovey way, and also like it puts it in a, like the fact that I can't remember the name of his character in West Side Story, but the fact that Romeo is literally like the second in command of his gang, and he's doing all this stupid shit, like makes him so much more dumb. Whereas I think here, like Romeo is just sort of the son of his father. He doesn't have a great leadership role. Whereas like the dude in West Side Story, you would know the consequences of his actions. You would know that it's a very real consequence, that people could die from the stupid shit he does. But anyways, so that's why I don't like West Side Story. And also the fact that I'm not gonna get into this right now. And I think Romeo and Juliet being about two like dumb, like are they both 14? I think Juliet's 14 and Romeo's like 16, something like that. Anyway, about them being about two really dumb teenagers makes it like such a great, like almost satire. And or maybe this is just, it's the way that I read it, it's the way that I enjoy it most, by looking at it that way, as like a sort of funny story about two dumb kids. But I mean, I guess you could look at it as like a genuine love story. I mean, it can be both. I think that's maybe the reason why it's so successful, because you can look at it in those two ways. You know, it allows, the way it's written, it sort of allows for both ways to be very valid. So if you look at it as more of a genuine love story than I do, that's completely fine. You know, art is subjective. That's why it's art. That's why I love art so much, because it's subjective. Moving on from Romeo and Juliet, we have the second hardcover, The Twelfth Night, which I have not read and I know nothing about, so I'm very excited to read. Also, interestingly enough, no, never mind. I was about to say something, but it didn't make sense. Yeah, Twelfth Night. This is something I mentioned in a previous video. The writing is the wrong way around. Someone commented about that. She said that because she's French, so it's like the other way around. So she was like, "Oh, I understand what you're saying." So, thank you. But yeah, the writing on the spine is the wrong way around, which is kind of annoying to me, because it just doesn't, it doesn't fit with the other books on my shelf. But whatever. A Midsummer Night's Dream. I have a story for this one, so exciting. The Arden, very evocative cover. This is very much a Midsummer Night's Dream that I'm seeing right now, and that's great. So Midsummer Night's Dream, I have started reading it, but I'm like not too far. Also, I hate that every Shakespeare book has like 100 pages of introductory bullshit before you actually get to the play. So in every, like, the first thing I do whenever I get a Shakespeare is I go to the part where the play fucking starts, and I like make a little bookmark my folding the page, so I know. Because, like, I mean, I might read this at some point if I'm bored, but also the thing is, like, lots of these introductions, they, like, speak about things that happen in the play, right? So if you've never read the play before, and you read the introduction first, because, remember, friends, it's called an introduction, so what's the word? Not connotation. Fuck, what's the word I'm thinking of? Not assumption. Wow, what's the word? The insinuation, there we go, is that you should read it first, because it is the introduction. But if you read the introduction first, having never read the actual play, you would get spoiled. And they talk about, oh, in this line in Act 3, Scene 2, when this person says this, Shakespeare was actually talking about this thing, and which is fine. But that's more like, in my mind, that should be more of like an addendum, not an introduction. So anyways, I mean, I might read the introduction at some point, but I'm gonna read it after I've like read the play first. But anyways, my story about Midsummer Night's Dream is that so in my high school we had I'll like tap on this while I'm talking. We had these things called one-act plays. And we had like 3 houses, sort of like in Harry Potter. I don't know if it's only like I guess our school system is based on sort of like British or like something. Anyways, I don't know if this is like a thing in like lots of other countries. Probably isn't. But we had like 3 houses, sort of like the houses in Harry Potter, if you think of it. But with us, they were just like assigned randomly, so it wasn't like a cool thing where they're like, oh, you are like like super like cunning and sly, you're in Slytherin. It was just like, oh, you're like I don't know, just because you are here on the list, you will be this one in this. I was the red house. We had a name, but I want to keep it mysterious. Because I'm a mysterious guy. Fuck Christ. Okay, if this thing falls again, oh my word, this is a great video. So, anyways, and obviously there were like sports events and things where the three houses would go against each other. But the one sort of cultural event where we'd go against each other was the one-act plays, where each house would like have two matrics or like final years grade 12s who would like direct it, and they'd have like they'd like get a crew of people and like actors from their house, and they would put on a one-act play. And it was actually a cool evening, like the one-act play where like the three houses would put on their plays, and then like a panel of like teachers, usually English teachers, and like maybe other people would decide like who won in whatever categories. It was very fun, and I always thought that if I were to like direct one, like throughout high school, I thought that if I could direct one, I would make it. And it had to be an adaptation, so your one play had to be like adapted from something else. And you can like change it and whatever and update it, but it has to be like adapted from an existing work. To make it, I guess, a little easier to pitch it. But anyways, I always thought if I got the opportunity to direct it, it would be a Midsummer Night's Dream, because it's not very original, because before I read it, I knew everything. I knew the basic plot and everything that happened because it's so like prominent in pop culture. I remember specifically an episode of Zack and Cody. I think it's the one that Selena Gomez was in, where Zack and Cody are in a production at their school of A Midsummer Night's Dream, and Cody is bottom. Zack was like, I think Zack might have been Theseus, anyways. And like, I'm pretty sure there's one with like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and whoever, and like Daisy and Minnie. That is A Midsummer Night's Dream, but anyway. But despite the fact that my idea for adapting A Midsummer Night's Dream into like a modern high school setting was not very original, I wanted to do it. But and I thought it would be like fun because you have like puck yourself, and it would be cool. But anyways, I ended up not doing it because I was a part of the like committee for my house somehow in my final year. So, and like the whole point of like having the one in place is like to give other people who did not have like weren't like members of the committee or prefects or whatever, to give them a chance to like shine and stuff. So rightfully so. So I didn't do that. But actually, also what ended up happening is like one of my friends was actually like a co-director. All the one plays were like co-directed by two people. And one of my friends was that, and they adapted Pocahontas, or a part of Pocahontas, which was pretty cool. So yeah, I'm sort of glad it turned out that way, because I'm glad that my friend, because she was very cool. She is pretty cool still. We haven't stayed in contact as it goes with most high school friendships, but I'm glad that she sort of got to do that. And she actually invited me to since I was like as like a representative of the like house committee, to like go to one of the rehearsals and just hang out and see what's going on. So that was pretty cool. So anyways, Midsummer Night's Dream, I still have to finish reading it. Next up we have I'm saving the one I'm reading for last. This is the penultimate. Wait, I'm missing Henry the Fourth. There we go. Let's talk about Henry while we're here. Henry the Fourth. Let's look at this fucking top 10. Not top 10. I haven't really been. Look, all of the Stratfords are like the bottom tier of covers, because they all have the similar image. I don't mind it, but also I need to mention there are a few like so perhaps my favorite Shakespeare play that I've read is The Merchant of Venice. So the three plays that we did in high school, which I don't have here because obviously like I went through them a lot and read them in high school, were Merchant of Venice in grade 10, which is I think my favorite of the ones that we did, and it's just so fun and cool and interesting because it's about like very like serious. Anyways, Merchant of Venice, and then grade 11 we did Macbeth, and grade 12 we did Othello. So three like pretty obviously the popular ones are the ones that you do in school, but yeah, I've read those. I don't own them. I have copies at my house. Probably if I looked, probably the same place I got these, there are copies of those. But I obviously, when I see those in the back room, I'm not like as interested as I am in the one that I haven't read. Anyways, Henry the freaking Fourth. Look at this amazing cover. That's so freaking cool, dude. This is the part one. Yeah, I mean, I haven't read it. I watched the movie that came out starring Timothy Chalamet, that was written by that guy. He was in that movie. Fuck, what's his name? He's an actor who's also a writer. He adapted it for the screen, and then Timothy Chalamet plays fucking the guy. Anyways, that's a Netflix movie. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I think it's called The King. It's called The King, which is sort of an adaptation of the sort of Henry IV series. And I think, like, Shakespeare's sort of historical stories are very interesting to me. I think for the same way that, like, The Social Network to me is very interesting. I don't care really about the historical accuracy, but I think sort of using history to tell an intriguing story is sort of fun and cool. That's why I really want to read Julius Caesar. Also because I've been learning a lot about, like, the actual history of Caesar, and I think it's very interesting and like where like the characters around him are like very interesting. Like Octavian. I'm actually thinking I would like to write a musical from the perspective of Octavian, who is Caesar's nephew, or was he I think he's his nephew, or like the son of his mistress. Anyways, he's not like Caesar's direct heir. So when Caesar died in his will, he gave everything to Octavian basically, and then the conspirators, the people who stabbed Caesar in the back, not in the back, like all of his body, but anyways, who the people who killed Caesar, the assassins, their sort of goal, i.e., which was to, like, demolish this, dictator essentially. Their plan sort of failed because all of the things that Caesar gave to Octavian allowed him to sort of become the first emperor, which is basically what Caesar was like trying to be. But anyways, so I'd really like to read the Shakespeare's sort of take on that and how he dramatized it, and also like Mark Antony and Cleopatra as well, in a similar sort of vein. But anyways, Henry. I really liked the movie, by the way, The King. It was very quiet and reserved, and I really enjoy that. Yeah, it wasn't very bombastic, and I really like that because I think, I don't know, right? It's sort of a lot more like a meditative, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, let's move on to The Winter's Tale. I don't have a lot to say about The Winter's Tale. I know nothing about it, so like King Lear and what are the other ones? I can't even remember. And like Twelfth Night, I don't know anything about. Oh, we also did The Tempest. I'm saying it because I have the works listed on the back here. I did The Tempest in university when I took one English course, so I don't have that either, even though I didn't like The Tempest that much. But anyways, it just reminded me. Yeah, what the fuck was I saying? Yeah, I don't know anything about The Winter's Tale, so I'm excited to read about it, having not known anything about it, and read it with fresh eyes and ears and stuff. So finally we have the book that I've been reading now, the classic, the one about the boy with the knotted hair. It is Hamlet. So I bought this in 2017 in my first year in university. So at the end of one of the semesters, the university bookshop had a sale, and I got Hamlet, this copy of Hamlet there. Very interesting, cool cover. Again, most of this is just introduction. Like, where does it actually... No, that's where I am right now. It actually starts... Actually, introduction is not that bad. It's... I mean, still like a relatively big chunk. It also, like, half of these pages, more than half most of the time, are just, like, explaining what the words meant and that kind of stuff. But anyways, yeah, Hamlet's dope as hell. Part of the reason I wanted to do this video is because I've been reading Hamlet and, like, really enjoying it. But now I'm like, and I, like, thought of all the cool things that I could say, and but yeah, it's just really fun. Yeah, that's cool. Hamlet, it's funny. I mean, it's really funny. I think like when you're in high school and the way that it's taught, it's like very serious and like, oh, you have to analyze all these things. Where it's like, the reason why these were so popular and cool is because people enjoyed them and they are like genuinely quite entertaining. Like, there's so much fucking lowbrow humor in this that Hamlet says, because he's kind of an asshole, but like in a very entertaining way, He's not like a very noble. I mean, ultimately, lots of sort of the heroes, like the plays that are just the person's name, like Macbeth or Othello, generally, I mean, I guess they're all tragedies, so I mean, but yeah, like Hamlet is a very interesting, like, asshole-ish. In my mind, he's like 18 or 19 character. Or maybe, I think maybe the reason why he's that age in my mind is because when I first started reading this, I was that age. So what happened was I like bought it and I started reading it, and then like I didn't read it for like 2 years, and now I'm going back to it to finish. But yeah, also like actually I wrote down where is it? Is it on the very first page? Or is it on the page where the play starts? It's here. So page 186. I thought it was really entertaining that Hamlet is described as having, or Hamlet's father, the ghost of his father, describes Hamlet as having curly hair. And I don't know if you know this, but I have curly hair. So I thought that was fun. Thy knotty and combined locks depart. My hair is knotty and combined. Ain't that cool? So, anyway. Yeah, and then also, like, it's very fun, reading all the classics. Like, to be or not to be, whether 'tis nobler in the soul to thing, I can't remember. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind, not the soul, you fucking idiot. Oob. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them. Also, you know what else is funny? I think maybe it's just like this version, but in my mind, the line I'm talking about is "the lady doth protest too much, methinks." It's such a great phrase to say. It's very fun to say. But I got to the part where Hamlet's mother Gertrude says that she's so. What happens is Hamlet, because his father's ghost told him essentially that his uncle killed him, and Hamlet's trying to sort of prove this, and so what he does is he asks like a band of players or actors to act out a scene in which someone poisons the king in order so that he can like seduce the king's wife and become king, which is what he thinks Claudius, that's his name, which is what he thinks Claudius is going to do. And then the point is like, and he like tells all these buddies like, hey, watch what Claudius is going to do, because if he like reacts in a certain if he reacts really strongly, that means that maybe he has a guilty mind. And like when you watch the play, I mean, like if he sees the scene where that happens, the guy kills the guy, like if Claudius reacts very strongly, then we know that it was him, and if not, then maybe this ghost thing was just like bullshit. But anyways, so while they're watching the play, Hamlet asks his mother about what's happening. I think he asks his mother about the king's wife who had just seen like the king's dead body, and something I can't remember. And then she says, she does not say the lady doth protest too much, methinks. She says, the lady. I write A on all the the great quotes. I write A because this is my book and I like to entertain myself. The lady doth. She says the lady protests too much, methinks. And in my mind, it was always the lady doth protest too much. But I think that's just because of like obviously there are like lots of different versions, and I think this version of it is just, so I think there is of course a version that says the lady doth protest too much, methinks, and I think that's like better just because I really like the word doth. But yeah, in this one it's just the lady protests too much, methinks. How long have we been going? 30 freaking minutes, dudes. Probably not. I remember I spent like 5 minutes bullshitting, like not doing stuff at the beginning. But anyways, thank you all for watching this video of me rambling about Willie Shakes. Wally Shakes. Wally Shakes. I'll try to make another video soon. Famous last words, but anyways, hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for your support and for watching and for being cool, my friends, Romans and country people.